So how was schooling here? Because when in India, like we have a different schooling system. How was schooling here? Like when we saw, like, this is what, again, most of my knowledge about schools here come from movies. Excuse me, audience. Yeah. So here I see like a lot of bullying happen just because you're a different different race. But in India, like I studied in an international school, and we had people from Germany, we had people from North Korea, South Korea. We always thought they're cool and we wanted to hang out more with them. Yeah. I don't think the case was like that here. Like, can you speak more about that? So I don't know if my like experience applies to everyone here, but when my parents came here, we weren't like, people think when you come to America, it's like a golden country where you're just flowing with money. Yeah. And like, it's like everyone has a dream of coming here, but the struggles, like my parents had to work really hard, and most of the time we lived in like poor neighborhoods until about high school was like when my parents like settled down, and then that's when like we were like, because we only had, my dad was working, and my brother was premature, so we had a lot of like hospital bills to pay because they had to keep him in an incubator and stuff. So all of that, like we lived in like very poor neighborhoods for until high school. So during those times, I was like probably one of the few Indians at that school, and I did face a lot of like bullying, and the bullying was like a lot of people like noticing differences in how I looked. It was like all about appearance, like, and sometimes it stemmed from jealousy. Like when you're young, like that person has better hair than you, or that, I don't know if it was about skin color. It was mostly about just like if someone's prettier or someone was fatter or something like that. It was like those things where I felt very like different, and also I couldn't make like strong connections because I didn't have anyone that I could connect with. No one understood that I was an immigrant, and what, like, my parents worked here. Some people like were very like, they got things like very like spoon fed to them here. So it was very hard for me to connect with. But then when I moved to high school, that's when we went to like a well neighborhood, like a well educated place where there was more Indians. And that's when I could find like it wasn't like you're Indian, I'm Indian, like we connect. It was more like I had a tribe of people who valued the same things that I did. And when you're younger, like a lot of people here actually, if you're Indian, like a lot of things they look at is that school area good for my child to go to? That's why you don't see a lot of Indians in poor neighborhoods because they know that the school there is not good. And that is very, very true in America. Like the education system might be great, like for colleges and stuff, like Harvard and they're top-notch colleges. MIT, yeah. Yeah. But if you look state by state, there's some states where their literacy rate is like so low, like their children can't even read. And you'd be surprised. Like even kids in India and like all over the place can read. Yeah, that's Yeah. true. For me, when I think about the school system, right? Like I love the school system, but with this, like, this neighborhood has better school system, so you gotta live here. So I think it's like kind of it's a snowball effect sometimes, I feel, because like that drives up the real estate of that area, and then, yeah, it just brings in more people, and then, like, people who are not well to do have to stay far off. Yeah. It's just like I don't know where to find. I have no solution or nothing like that. It's just I think a lot about that. It's crazy. There's this thing called gerrymandering, where like as I said, we had to move to a higher rich area in order to get into a better school. So if you don't have the money to go into that area, like you can't get a better like education, and then that affects you. It is a It's a snowball, yeah. And you can't get a better job, and you can't go. When I was in college, I had a friend. Her mom was visiting her, so I was trying to get her a space for like couple months, for 3 months, when her mom was visiting, because she had roommates and she didn't want. So then one of my friend, I don't want to drop the name here, Yeah. but yeah, she first agreed to rent the space out, and then she pulled back saying, "Oh no, because when you Indians cook, the whole house smells like that, and the curtain smells like that, Yeah. and my couch smells like that. So I don't want Yeah. to rent it to you guys." And I've heard a couple places like that where they wanted to sublease, and just because you're like, our curry and our food gets mixed with the thing, and they said no. How was that? How was that experience when you were going to school, when you opened the tiffin box? Was it similar? I have such I've had such a bad experience. Like, I'll tell you 2 examples.
One time I bought Maggi noodles, and you
Mhm.
know what? It's like ramen, Indian style noodles, but it's called Maggi,
Right.
right? And then there was a girl whose name was Maggie. And then she got really offended that I was calling the noodles like Maggie noodles, and I was like trying to explain it to her like that's what it's called.
And then
Yeah, and she was like, "No, you're just like making fun of me." And I was like, "No, that's really what it is." And then there's another experience where I had mixed yogurt, like you mix yogurt, plain yogurt and rice, and
yogurt
with
rice.
yeah, yogurt, right? It's such a common thing to do. But when you're the only Asian Indian kid and everyone around you is like white or African American, and you open your lunchbox and it's like yogurt and rice, it's like you're like targeted. You're like they're gonna come for you. And unless you have a very strong personality to be like
Withstand.
stand up at that age, like to stand up for okay, this is like my food and it's amazing, and even if you don't like it, I like it. I don't think I at that age I it's just I couldn't stand up for myself like that.